So, how many of you guys think that the end update is coming out this year? Because I'm pretty sure for most of us, we don't think it's coming out this year. I mean, there's still the drop system, and well, we still don't have a word of whether or not a major update is coming anytime soon. And yeah, I ain't gonna stop any of the audiences of the Minecraft Twitter and YouTube page talking about the end update. And yep, the end update is still not around despite everyone talking about it. So I'm here about to yap about the end update because I got some interesting stuff I want to talk about, especially recently because there are some interesting things I want to say. So first of all, obviously the Nether update is 5 years old at this point. It came out back in 2020, summer of 2020, and now that's, 5 years old. And for this year specifically, the Cave update, both part 1 and 2, specifically those parts, wink wink, is about to become 5 years old as well. Yep, 5 years since the Cave update and the end up, not the end update, the Nether update. So that means that both of the biggest updates have came out, like that's probably arguably the best update that come out recently. Well, recently has been 5 years ago, or about to be 5 years ago. So that makes the end update pretty far off compared to those other updates. I know, I'm pretty sure most of us hasn't been keeping track of time. I mean, I have been keeping track of time, but that still doesn't make it to the point where the end update being that far off from the Nether update seemingly, even though it still hasn't been announced. Yeah, that long ago it really does surprise me. Well, I guess when the update does comes out, it's going to be pretty far off from the update that, brought a lot of people back into Minecraft, because updating the Nether was like eye-opening for so many people to the point where the end update was just like the next thing, because obviously after the Nether you go to the end, and the end got to have a lot of stuff going on with there, Nether update but for the end, but we've still been waiting. So yeah, there's that. So another thing I also want to talk about, now that it's been so long that, the end update has been the main thing people is pushing, I wonder how that will affect the expectations of the end update, because now the end update is going to be, like, heavily expected to be having so much of different stuff, because, a lot of people has a lot of different stuff they want to happen for the end updates, and while I'm pretty sure Mojang could satisfy at least a good amount of the casual audience in terms of casual and maybe a few of the hardcore audience when it comes down to what they can add to the end update. I'm pretty sure for most people's ideas, they probably thinking, oh yeah, there's gonna be 5 new biomes, or heck even more so than the Nether update added. There's gonna be a new ore, there's gonna be a bunch of new mobs and all that other stuff, essentially what they did in dungeons. And it'll be really shocking if Mojang comes in and be like, alright guys, we're making the end update, and the end update only has a new wood type, 3 new biomes, 2 new mobs, and a new weapon, not even a new ore. There you go. And yeah, I think a good amount of the community would be like, we waited for this? How? Well, I honestly don't think Mojang would do it that way. I mean, you got to do the end update justice, because the Nether update, I would say that update was done really well. It's one of the best updates to ever come out of Minecraft. So the end update gotta match that energy, or at least get that close, because it is another huge dimension of Minecraft that is, relatively barren, even more so barren than the Nether update was before the update. So this update has a lot more that it needs to work on, because it can't just be the end cities forever and the same barren wasteland islands for infinity with chorus fruit and endermans all over the place. Yeah, and occasional endermite if you throw an enderpearl. But yeah, that's pretty much the only stuff that's in the end update. The previous end update from 1.9. So this next end update, yeah, it better be very expensive. And I do have a couple of things I will say about what could be added, because obviously the main thing people are going to go for is biomes and new ore like enderite. That's I don't know if there would be a new ore called enderite, because The Nether, I mean, well, the End doesn't really have ores per se at all, especially in comparison to the Nether, because the Nether at least had quartz and stuff, but the End, I mean, they could add it. Like, they could add stuff that could be in the End, but I wonder how a new ore like Enderite will work. Like, would you have to like dig down, straight like close to the point where you're getting close to the void to get them, or in that case, then maybe you should build like close to the void, but not towards like close to the void, and like mine underneath like the islands and stuff, and it might actually make it rarer as well, because I'm sure it wouldn't be everywhere, because supposedly, since the End is, well, the end game or the post game, well, it is the end game, the post game, that means that armor is going to have to be more powerful than netherite, which, well, further devalues diamonds, am I right? But yeah, and that armor is going to be much stronger, so it's going to have to be much more rarer. So depending on how it is placed on the world, yeah, I wonder how they would do that. But, the most easier thing to think about is biomes, like, the big lush forests that was added in the Nether update. How about that before the End? But, for some people, they would probably say, well, the End being barren is kind of its identity, so you wouldn't want, like, huge lush forests or, like, jungles and stuff. Which, yeah, I kind of see that, but part of me also sees that the Nether also was a barren wasteland as well before it was updated, and, well, there wasn't much. I'm pretty sure there was pushback about that. Probably like, what? This is weird. All at the end, the Nether with trees. What? But I think like maybe like one biome in the end, without like being like all lush and stuff, would be fine. Because if they do go with the angle of the end being mostly barren for like most part, then yeah, I can definitely see that being the case. Whereas just a barren, like just all like barren biomes, like essentially multiple variations of the desert that's like in the overworld except for the End, and that could be cool. But a lush biome wouldn't be too like weird, because well, the End's identity could be like morphed over time. I mean, they're not afraid to like put a bunch of new stuff in the End and like dungeons and stuff. Like, I wonder how much stuff from dungeons would come over to the End update. That's another thing, because obviously dungeons is not completely off of the table when it comes down to stuff that they could add to the End update. Obviously, some dungeon stuff did come to the base game in the previous updates. Like, obviously, the Pillager was originally dungeons, but then that came over, and Isolator could have come over, but that didn't happen. So, there's other stuff as well. But in terms of, like, dungeon mobs, like, I'm pretty sure if you haven't noticed, but in terms of, like, the mob variants that they added in the previous years, they haven't been the dungeons variants or the Earth variants. There mainly been like new stuff. Like, there isn't like that jungle skeleton that's in the dungeons game. It's mostly a new like jungle skeleton, and also a new like version of the skeleton as well. I don't know if there was a desert skeleton in dungeons, but yeah, and like there's still a new version, and that's why I thought that like there wouldn't be a cold zombie in Minecraft. Like, if there would be a cold zombie, then it'll probably be like a new zombie. But yeah, I'm going off the rails. This is just to say that what mobs from the End update or anything from the End update that was like in dungeons will be added into the End update, because they could add one mob, but I don't think a majority of them will be added, obviously, because most of dungeon stuff is exclusive to dungeons, which I'm pretty sure that's a thing that Mojang wants. So maybe like there'll just be like one of them, like I think like the Ender Sid, like that, or something called like that tall Enderman boss like thing. I think that part could be pretty cool. But if they do end up adding like one of like just the enemy versions of the Endermans, and like that's fine. But for me, I think there's could be a lot more originality you could go for when it comes down to the End in terms of like making new mobs. Because think about it, like there could be so many original ideas you could add into the End, because they added a bunch of new stuff to the Nether that's like obviously obviously it's pig related, so I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't too like the End update wouldn't be too far from Endermans. But there are quite varied mobs in the Nether that could be also be added in the End, like the Shulkers in the End, which isn't too closely related to the Enderman, like the Endermites kind of are, but even though that those aren't also closely related to Enderman, like they could add Enderman variants. But that could happen, like there could be new original mobs and stuff, yeah. But, it's probably just going to be like Enderman but small, but Enderman but tall, or Enderman but village, but Enderman. Oh, yeah. I wonder if they will add any more structures. Oh, yeah. Structures is another thing. I wonder how the structures would be, because there is one structure And yeah, that structure is already elusive enough. Like you have to search like multiple like islands and stuff just to find one. It'd be interesting to see a new structure. I wonder what kind of structure. It'd probably be like a dungeon-like structure, like the in cities. Like I don't think there would be like a village, obviously, because there wasn't a village. Like there's a bastion in the Nether, but that's not like a village. So, whatever they would add, it'll probably be closely related to whatever structure they add, because obviously there gotta be a structure in the end update to like be like on par with the Nether update. So I guess you could see that. There's a lot of stuff you could add in the Nether update. I mean, the end update. I mean, that's why it's so like highly like wanted upon across the community, because there's so much potential, and also it is another like dimension that's barren, lacking of content that could be added upon. So obviously it is the main thing people are talking about. And for me, well, while I wasn't personally like that interested in an update like immediately, over time, yeah, I definitely did start being more and more into like what an end update could be. Because don't get me wrong, I like the current updates and stuff, but the end update, that's definitely got to be like a major big thing that they got to do, like at least either next or like next up. Like it has to happen, because like this is like the main thing people are like wanting. And obviously Mojang is very well aware of the fact that everyone wants the end update, so I'm sure it will come eventually. Whether or not it's this year, I don't know. They still haven't like announced any major updates since the previous update, and obviously they changed like a lot of the naming structure and version number structure. So I wonder how that will work. Obviously, it probably would work in a way where like if the end update were to come out, let's say like sometime at the end of the year, like maybe like sometime in like the fall or December, like it'll probably be like 26.3 or 26.4, but yeah, it probably would work that way. But also that way is more so closely related to like the drop structure. So I wonder how I always wonder how major updates would work in the drop structure, since it's mostly drops. But I guess you got to wait and see. And I guess maybe the end update could be the update, so we can see how that will work. But in the meantime, I think I'm kind of done yapping about the end update. I can yap even more so. Like I can also talk about how like, you know, the minuscule end updates that have been going on recently, like the end flashes, how that's like making people be like, oh yeah, the end update's coming even closer. Yeah, but I can talk about stuff like that. But well, we all just want the end update to happen, and I'll be fine with seeing the end update happen. But when that happens, I'll definitely be surprised. Maybe in the next Minecraft Live, or any Minecraft Lives happening. I'm pretty sure it will have to be announced in a Minecraft Live, to be honest. It won't be like one of those drops that's just announced outside of a live event. So, or live, because it's not even live. So I guess it will be announced in a Minecraft Live. So at some point whenever that's announced, I guess you will see what it is, and see our inevitable disappointment when Mojang announces that the only thing they're adding is a new wood type and a new block, and then they don't. I mean, that's not the case. It's gonna be much more bigger than that, I'm pretty sure, because yeah, it's a major update. Like you can't just come to the end and just add a couple of stuff and leave. Like that's something you really gotta add a lot of stuff to. But in the meantime, I will still be doing my own thing here, and I'll be talking about the end update whenever it comes out. Hopefully. Guess we'll see.